for one eye and one sphere here. Now this eye is going to be smaller and more squashed because as we go with the perspective changes the way a sphere looks like. So it's going to be a little bit more like an ellipse. What else can we have as a lady? So let's draw her eyes. And when we draw cartoony eyes, what makes them cuter is bringing them closer together, a little bit like a crossed-eyed eyes. But they are not crossed-eyed, they just look cute. That's how babies do look. That's why cartoony characters are very similar to babies. So now the fish doesn't have a nose. We have one thing excluded here to draw. What else can we do? We can have some lips that are very ladylike lips, and maybe some thickness. Who says the fish can't have lips? That is the thing where you can combine a certain species, like a fish, combining it with human features. All characters, cartoony characters, that you find appealing do have human features. Basically, designing contouring characters means that whatever character you take, you apply human features to it to make it look realistic or to make it look like a character. Otherwise, it's just a fish. So you can apply anything you want. And let's shape now this fish. What else can we do now? Because fishes have fins, and this is a ladylike fish. Let's give her some gentle, nice fins here. You can design maybe like they will symbolize chunk of hair, for example, for a ladyfish, and let's give her similar fins on the sides. So just draw a wavy like line to find the shape of this hair, like in the same here. Again, still loose. And we have to imagine where this fin, the other fin of this doublet appears on the other side. And I'm not going to talk too much about perspective, but you can find that by drawing similar horizontal spheres approximately, that you can find the perspective here. And I'm going to keep it simple, so it obviously appears somewhere over here. So imagine the fin from behind, if this sphere is, this body is transparent. So you'll see just a part of it, like maybe this one. You can draw it like that because this is still our kitchen. And you can draw another line that connects with this chunk of hair to connect it and to have this fin look like a fin, like a chunk of hair. What else do we have? Let's make this ladyfish a little bit thinner, still using this shape here, but we want to minimize it, to have it look more gentle. And let's design similar fins. So what can you do? I mean, you can add another line over here, like that, and you can connect it with this corner on this side, still keeping it loose. We will refine that later and connect the end of this line with this corner with a similar soft and curvy line that simulates this curve here. So following that, and this is basically our ladyfish. What else does she miss? She misses the ladiness in it. So let's add some lashes and some eye locks that are a little bit closed down, as a very self-aware and knowing that she's beautiful ladyfish, like that. And And let's add some cheeks, make her cuter. She's not an evil ladyfish. She's very sweet, a little bit rounded, young ladyfish. And this is the character we've discovered. Now let's go with the black pencil and refine this fish. Make it look concrete and find the character in it. So just go over those lines, and now the eye can be all dark. Maybe you can leave a little bit of white spot here. That is like the glance on the sparkle on her eyes to make her look even more alive. Let's draw this cheek on top of the eye like that, so she looks even cuter. And go ahead and refine even the other lines. You see that you don't need to delete so far, or delete, I mean erase. I'm talking digital language here. You see what technology has done to us. I draw very rarely on paper these days, but I do believe that training yourself to draw on paper gives you this feeling, this texture, and gives you the possibility to have these small shades and lines that are so very important for you to get lost in the drawing and don't get lost in the details. And what is the difference with that? Because you see, if you go into the details and you don't discover this shape, you don't ask those questions that I've now presented to you, it will be very hard for you and very discouraging when you start drawing your characters. What you want is to gain courage, to have pleasure by drawing, because if you feel pleasure when you draw, you will continue doing it. And it is the main thing to be good at drawing is actually repeating the process over and over again, and also being free to experiment. Drawing is about experimentation, and it's about discovering a form and a shape. It's not something that you draw and you're done with. It's something that you continue to do over and over again. Do you know, when, for example, I design characters for my new movies, I used to draw maybe 50, 60 characters of the same character. I have his or her personality in mind, and then I design different shapes just to find the right character for this kind of personality. So this is very important also for you to know that draw it roughly first, discover the character. And then if you want to draw a book, or if you want to make a movie, you can always choose one of those characters that you've drawn and evolve it to a really nice, thoroughly drawn character. But the first step is discover the character this way. You see our fish has started shaping, and now we can just go with a contour on top of the lines and just complete it like that. And we can add details later on, graphic details. This is now black and white drawing. So what else can we draw? We can draw, like, for example, symbolically graphic elements, like fins, for example, like the texture of her skin. We don't have to do that all over her body. We can do that just a little bit on some places, and that will signify what kind of texture is this fish with. Just a few lines here and there are actually enough to give our viewers a sense of texture for this character. And we can draw something like that here, maybe smaller fins underneath her body. And later on, if we want to color this fish, then we can add even more details in color and different shading. But here we'll just do these simple lines that go along this line here, and they turn in the opposite direction for matching this line here. That signify that these fins go along this shape. And we can do the same here. Just match the shape of this line here and draw some lines that get together here. Now we don't have such a precise pencil when we draw with pencils, and we can't erase, so we'll just signify that these fins continue here, and we can even shade this part on top just to have a better sense of this character, that she is that these chunks of fins are serving for our character as a symbolic hair. And maybe we can shade her eyelids so it looks as if she has makeup, like that. And that is our first character, basically. Congratulations if you've come here. And now that is very easy to achieve, and you see that with this character. You can do a lot, you can have a story, and it is a very simple method because it doesn't have human anatomy, which is really difficult if you are a beginner to grasp. So starting with that is great. Now let's go ahead and draw our next fish. We're gonna do that in the next lecture.